Hello everyone, my name's Ivory Castelou and I'm the founder of Action Potential Sales. I help countless other companies get their products on the shelves of major retailers. Not only that, but I've scaled multiple companies to over $1 million in revenue. I have over 12 years of experience in sales, half of which has exclusively been with sales. Today, I want to talk about pitching and closing. I want to frame it in a very simple way with some steps that you should include in your call and what you should be doing afterwards that's going to lead you towards closing that deal. So, the very first thing is just getting products out the door for them to try. So, the elements of a pitch is your introduction. You want to ask a question to the person on the other line to figure out if they're the person that can purchase this product. So, for example, if I'm calling a grocery store, I'll ask for the store manager. Then, when the store manager gets on the phone, I'll say, "Hey, I'm just calling on behalf of this company. We're talking about this. Are you the right person to speak with?" They say yes. I go right into my pitch, that elevator pitch, the purple cow. If you watched my last video on product market message match, you'll remember that I said you shouldn't ask permission to tell them more about what you have to offer. You should have this amazing product with an amazing message full of all sorts of purple cows, things that stand out, that are remarkable, that if you pop off to them, they're going to get engaged, they're going to get curious, they're going to want to hear more. So the first stage is get that decision maker on the phone. The second stage is pop off that purple cow elevator pitch. Once you've done that, you want to just smoothly ask, "Can I send you samples?" If they say yes, you're going to grab their contact information and then you're going to ask a qualifying question. For example, with one of my clients, we ask, "How much does it cost for a shave and also a haircut?" If it's at a higher price point, it's much more likely that our product is going to succeed. So I'm willing to send that person samples. For one of my other clients, the product is very good for a younger audience. And so I ask, "Hey, do you have a lot of younger customers, or is your store primarily made up of elderly people shopping?" Important questions. Now, if they say that they don't meet that criteria, you just want to be upfront. "Hey, listen, I don't want to waste your time. I don't think that this is going to work out in your store." Now, you might ask, why is it that we don't ask that qualifying question right up front? Well, the reason being is that we're popping that elevator pitch to get their attention, and then we're getting that crucial yes that we need at the end of the day, which is that samples. Once we've gotten those two things off, we have a lot more bandwidth in the call to start expanding and asking questions, and they're going to pay attention because they want your samples. So, like I said, we ask that qualifying question. It works out great. We move it to the next stage, which is a bonus giveaway. Like I said, we have more bandwidth in this call to have a better conversation. They're already engaged. We can start by saying, "Hey, let me tell you a little bit more about us." You can talk about your story. You can talk about your sell-through programs, and much more. You can have the majority of your phone call actually after when they accept samples. And I highly suggest that you frame your calls this way because, like I said, they loved your elevator pitch, they really want your samples, they qualify, and now they want to hear a little bit more. After this, what you want to do is you want to send them an email thanking them. You want to tell them a little bit more about your brand and story. There was a little bit of what you were able to provide on your phone call that was able to create engagement and get them to the next step. On the email, you can go a little bit deeper and further. You can also enter them into a sequence. I like to use a program like Keep. You can start to talk a little bit more about the different programs you have. You can send an email one week about the story of how your company started, a little bit more details on the products, individual products itself. So, pitching theory. I've said this many, many times that I frame this whole process as it should be effortless. If you've created the right message, you're in the right market, you have the right product, the product should just sell itself. And why that's important to frame it that way is because you should think of it not as pitching, but as sharing. If you believe in what you're offering because you know the product, the message, and the market match is correct, and that this other person on the other end is going to benefit by having your product on their shelves, then you don't really need to go about trying to hardcore persuade people. You don't need to get some cheesy car salesman tactics out of your pocket to whip at them. You should just be sharing. Sharing is natural. It's like storytelling. And it's scary to pitch, but it's easy to share, which means making phone calls should be effortless. You shouldn't be afraid to pick up the call. When you train your sales rep to do this process, you just make it really easy. Listen, the product sells itself. We do this, this, and this. Our other clients that we in stores that we sold to have achieved these results. We just need you to get on the phone call and share with as many people as you possibly can. And what this does is it changes pitching to sharing, and it changes closing in a lot of ways to inspiring people to your brand. And if you can frame it that way, it's going to be much more meaningful. It's not a process of trying to sell someone on something. It's a process of trying to share a story that inspires them to be your partner. A partner in growing revenue for yourself and for their own business. Now, in that emotional pitch that in that elevator pitch that you're giving, you can throw in all those purple cows and stuff, but you want to use emotional words as well. Emotional words trigger certain memories and feelings in people, and you are moving this process from being just a logical process to also being an emotional one. What I like to do in that elevator pitch, in that framework of pitching all together, is I like to come in with that elevator pitch that's inspiring, it's emotional, it's hitting that emotional part of their brain, they're getting engaged and curious. And then I also like to transition into logic, which is the sell-through programs or brands and any case studies, so on and so forth. So try to use as much emotional words as you possibly can in your pitch. These words are exciting, engaging, and thought-provoking. You can Google emotional words. For example, emotional words. And there's all these different lists of words that you can use for joy, cheerfulness, and you want to sprinkle that into your pitch somehow. And you want to spruce up your pitch like you would see food on a menu. You know, it's one thing to go knock on the door like, hey, would you like a grilled cheese sandwich? And it's a different story to knock on the door, hey, I got this great sandwich. It's made with homemade bread that's made from scratch. It has rosemary and olive oil and all these great ingredients that just enhance your palate. And in between is a nicely, freshly sliced, beautiful provolone cheese that was made with traditional practices out of France, for example. There's in your ingredients in your products, you can go and tell stories about those products, ingredients. I'm serious. There was a pomade that was anti acne pomade. It had a great story. It interested people. What was really interesting about this is that all pomades, for the most part, have anti-acne ingredients in it, but you just don't hear that all the time. Another product contained candela wax, and I said this candela wax was made from the cacti in the New Mexican desert, and it's grown in this temperature and all this kind of stuff, and people were interested by hearing that. Funny thing is, candela wax is also another common ingredient in hair products, so there's a lot of stories that you can also tell in the ingredients, and you want to fluff up the language and tell stories with it. Now you also want to integrate emotions into your pitch. Tell a story that gets them connecting with it, goes, yeah, you know what, I've been there, I can understand. And if that's built into the solution that you solve for your customer, it's going to make it more likely that not only they're going to emotionally connect with you, but they're also going to remember the logic of the problem that you are solving for them. A good example is one of my clients. In other videos I mentioned that the big companies that sold these products to barbershops started selling in other stores like pharmacies and Walmart. And as soon as you tell that story, it's like, hey, they stole money out of the pocket of barbers just like yourself and just like our founders. And that's not what we do. We negotiate exclusive rights for our own products. They can connect with that story. And if they can connect with that story and connect with ultimately you, it's going to lead them a little bit closer to wanting to purchase from you. Now, some other tips about pitching is you want to orchestrate your voice. Just as you're writing copy, you want to have a certain style and use certain words and so on and so forth that engages people, because there's little nuances to that medium. And there's nuances to the medium of you speaking. It's not just the words that you put on a screen and you read out. It's also how you decide to use your voice, how you orchestrate your voice. And what I mean by that is managing your tone, volume, and pauses. Your voice changes when you move and you use your hands or you squeeze something. I personally like to get up, walk around, move around while I'm on the phone, because they can hear that energy. There's also a common thing that they can hear your smile over the phone. And so with my sales reps that are on my team, I train them to practice pausing, being louder. If you can get loud, they have no choice but to listen to you. Also, bringing your voice down, because now they gotta reach in and hear you a little bit more. Putting pauses to create dramatic parts of your pitch. Your pitch should be like a piece of classical music. Loud, quiet, slow, and fast. And how you can get better at this is you write this into your pitch. Practice telling your pitch with a different tone at times. Throw in pauses, try different voices, be exciting, be quiet. And over time, you will get better. Practice holding something in your hand. Like, if you're stressed on the phone, I like to have something in my hand that I'm squeezing. It puts my nervous energy into it, and I can just focus on what I have to say. On this note, pauses are incredibly important, because not everything is going to pop off the way it should. And if you pause, it gives yourself a chance to think about what's the next thing you're going to say and how you're going to say it. Now, you can get a lot of practice by watching other YouTubers, other influencers. I like Simon Sinek, the way that he speaks. He tells stories in a great way. They like to say that Winston Churchill armed the English language against the Germans. He's one of the great speakers. If you want to get to an extreme on speaking with your hands, you look up videos that people are talking with their hands. You can see how they're starting to orchestrate what they're saying by the way that they move their hands. This is important. I've hired sales reps that have said things in monotone and they get results, but if you're able to orchestrate your voice, you're going to get even more results and you're going to excite people. Like I said, if you're on the phone and you're really quiet and this person's busy on the other end, they don't want to listen to you. But if you're loud, they have no choice but to pay attention. It kind of just grabs them, okay? Now, another thing you want to do on your calls is ask qualifying questions. Now, in the very beginning, this might not be something that you do. You want to get samples out to different segments. You want to see how they perform. But as soon as you have some criteria that shows you exactly what the perfect store is going to convert and what store is going to sell the most, you need to get on the call and start asking these qualifying questions. And like I said, you get the sample acceptance, you ask the qualifying question, and you want to continuously be collecting data. You want to use this to isolate those perfect leads. This is ultimately long-term going to help you save money, because it's very easy to pop off 100 sample accounts a month. Not only that, but as you keep getting more and more sample accounts, you have more and more and more calls that you have to make. In some certain instances of campaigns, have sales reps that are allotting 300 to 600 calls just for a particular follow-up sequence. And if you're always able to maximize your time by having the best opportunities in front of you, you're just going to end up closing more. And it's very easy to get bogged down into 100 calls with only 10 opportunities that are involved in it in closing, because 90% of them aren't going to work. Now, if you're calling 100% of what will work, it's going to provide you more results. And you want to think about basic criteria that matches with those best-selling stores. Now, post-sample call. You want to enhance that story. I talked about it a little bit earlier. You want to send a thank you, a follow-up, include images and videos, marketing materials. Now, on that note of videos, I love YouTube videos. There are people on YouTube who have channels with thousands and thousands of subscribers that you can pay like $500, and they will make a video and they put it on YouTube. It's great if you can point that to your website and get more sales, but having this influencer talk about your product not only increases brand awareness for you, but it gives your brand and product social proof. I love doing that. Now, in this email or future email sequence, you also want to expand the story and talk about the other benefits of working with you. You want to get the main points off in the call, and you want to talk a little bit deeper and perhaps have materials made that relate to those topics that you're talking about on the phone call. And I highly suggest that you start to work with automation. One of those programs I've mentioned before is Keep. It allows you to tag accounts and enter them into sequence. You can create complex sequences like if this combination of this tag are together, then put them into this sequence. You're going to have different channels like inbound, cold. You're going to have warm leads. You're going to have follow-up. It's just easy to tag them and get that email sent off instead of sending it manually. Ideally, when people are in that sample stage where you're sending them samples, you're waiting for them to test it out, and then you're going to follow up to see if they like it. Send them an email once a week. Don't make it boring. If you personally wouldn't grab value from this email, don't send it. A good way of framing this is giving value up front in a way that helps them make more money. Perhaps it could be a tip to increase sell-through for their products in general. Because you found a hole and you're able to educate for it. Perhaps it's telling more of a deeper story that has some tips embedded into it. If you can just keep giving value and value and value to companies, they're going to frame you less as this cheesy salesperson, and they're going to frame you more as someone that's a partner to help see them succeed in the long run. Now, the nitty gritty, the whole reason why we're pitching and we're practicing our voice and we're sending follow-up emails and all that kind of jazz is just closing the deal in the first place. And typically, you want them to have the product in their hands for 2 weeks. You're going to give them a call, and they might say to you that they haven't had a chance to try it. At the very least, you're reminding them to try it, and you're setting a date for you to follow up with them. The elements of a close, it should be a really simple conversation. How did you find the samples? They will then tell you, well, I didn't really like it. And you can ask, well, what did you not really like about it? It's useful if they say they didn't like the sample. It A, tells you whether or not the store is the right fit, or B, it gives you information to push back into product development to make that product even better. Not everything's going to work for everyone, but the more features that you add to your product based on feedback, the more likely it's going to sell itself. Now, when they say, yeah, I really liked that product, expand the conversation. Reiterate important facts about the products that they like, just to get it back in their mind, and then ask them a very powerful, quick question. How many products, or how fast could you do this per week? Per day, per person? And they're going to give you an answer like, yeah, I typically could sell 3 products per barber. Okay, how many days? Per day. Awesome. So you're saying that if you have 3 barbers, you could sell 9 products a day, which basically means you could sell 45 units a week, and you could sell 180 a month. Is that correct? Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, based off of what you just said, you like the product. You know that you could sell 180 units a month. I have this great package for you that could do this. And you could sweeten the deal with a promotion for them, or you have some sort of starting program to get them going, like, for example, a buyback guarantee. Buyback guarantees are good, and we'll talk a little bit more of that in rebuttals. Essentially, at this point, you're offering an option and you're asking for the sale. Listen, don't overthink it. They like the product. They said they could sell it in this period of time. Have no problem offering them a solution and believe that they're going to buy it. It's just, you should frame it in that sort of way. Now, what if they rebuttal and they say, well, I don't have any money? For whatever rebuttal, that objection that they give you, simple question, can you tell me a little bit why that is? And then you can have a normal conversation that flashes out a rebuttal that basically covers what they have to say. A good formula for this is called agree, kill, close. Agree, I definitely understand. This is something that happens with other people. And then kill. Kill for money is, hey, listen, I understand that you don't have any money, but that being said, we do a buyback guarantee. If you don't sell this product in 60 days, we're going to buy it back. What do you have to lose? That's the kill. Close is, awesome, you have nothing to lose, let's get started. So agree, kill, close. So with no money, I would use the buyback guarantee, because if they have money to invest in the product, they're not going to lose money at the end of the day, because you're going to buy it back, which makes them feel more comfortable taking the next step. If someone says, for example, I have no time, ask, why don't you have any time? Well, let's frame it in the form of a barber, for example, a barbershop owner. I have no time to order products or start selling it because I'm always cutting hair. Okay, why are you always cutting hair? Because my business isn't making enough money, the margins are bad, and so on and so forth. Okay, I understand. A lot of other barbers agree, face the same issue. That being said, if we're able to help you make more money, would that free up your time because you make more money, you don't have to be cutting hair as much? And they say, okay, yes, awesome, let's get started. You go back to that close. Not the right time. Why is it not the right time? I think when you're dealing with objections, it's just a process of why. Why this, and then why that, why that. Okay, we're at the root. I have a solution for that root. So not the right time. They don't have any inventory on the space on the shelf. Okay. One of my clients will actually buy back that inventory just to make space to get it on. I think at the end of the day, a way of framing a close is it's not entirely on you. It's about being on this scale of change. On one end are businesses that are just perfectly happy and comfortable. They're making money. They don't really need to get fought. On the very opposite end of things are companies that have a major problem and they need change. We're not selling any products. We have all this empty space, so on and so forth. And then in the middle is where you're going to put a lot of your work. These are companies that haven't really understood their problems. When you get on the phone, what you're going to do is you're going to ask questions. You're going to be able to tell stories in a way that brings their problems to the surface and gets them to recognize this so that now you can make an opportunity to close them. But again, the reason why I talk about this change scale is because there's some companies that are simply just really comfortable. And a lot of you closing, if you're in the right market, right product, right message, is whether or not they're just on that scale. And if you're able to gear what you need to say to them at that stage that moves them to the next stage, it isn't one key fit all. There isn't one key that fits into every sales call that closes everything. There's different keys, different tactics. It's a bag of tricks. And it relates to where they are at on that scale. Now, some advanced closing. Assumptive selling. They say they like the product. They say that they know that they can sell X amount of units per week or per day. You should just assume they're going to buy your product. They like it. They can do it. And I like to frame this as imagining yourself as a doctor. If you're a patient, you go to the doctor, you tell the doctor problems, the doctor listens, and he goes, based on what you said, I'm giving you this. They don't go, would you like to take that Tylenol? They go, I'm giving you some Tylenol. And you say yes, because you believe that person's an expert. And you need to imagine yourself as that expert when you get on these calls, like you're actually calling to give them value. You got this amazing product to give to them that if they take it, it's going to help improve their business somehow. No one walks onto the lot without an intention of selling. If they accepted samples from you, they like it, they can sell it, they're here to buy. And you just need to have the strength to just confidently transition it to that close. Now, one of those phrases that I like using is awesome. Based on what you're saying, I like to give you this this package. Does that work for you? You can also use something like an option close, which is, hey, Awesome. Based on what you said, tell me which option you'd like to go with today. Would you like to go with that package that means what you can sell, or would you like to try a test order out, for example? You can also order close with a date. Awesome. You like the product. This is the package that you want to go for. Would you like to order it today, or do you want to order it tomorrow, or do you want to order it next week? So on and so forth. The point of when you're closing is you shouldn't really be asking for a yes or no answer. You should be framing it in a way that avoids asking for that yes or no answer, and it just has language that's assumptive in it. Awesome. Well, today I want to say thank you for watching this video on pitching and closing. And if you look in the description, I have a link that you can click to go to a landing page and redeem your free retail and distribution guide. It has many of my advice embedded into it based off of many years of sales work. If you'd like to speak to me a little bit further about the things that I'm speaking about, or you would like help with affordably scaling your sales for your company, hit that link, grab the downloadable retail book, and fill out the form, and we can speak a little bit further. Also, before you go, please hit that subscribe button, and I thank you very much and hope you have a good day.